We start this hour off in Washington, and the White House is set to unveil new details next month about President Donald Trump's planned East Wing ballroom. The National Capital Planning Commission says the administration will give an information presentation during a public meeting on January the 8th. The project, which Trump has said could cost $400 million, would significantly exceed the size of the existing White House structure. The proposal has drawn legal and political pushback. Preservation groups are suing to halt construction, arguing that the ballroom would overwhelm the historic property. Democratic lawmakers have also raised concerns and called the project an abuse of power and questioning who is funding it. The Planning Commission has so far declined to formally review the demolition work already carried out on the former East Wing. A judge earlier refused to block construction, citing a lack of finalized plans. A full review is expected in the spring, when the public will be allowed to submit comments or testify. Joining us now on this situation is Dr. Satoru Nagao. He is a fellow at the Hudson Institute, and he joins us live from Tokyo in Japan. Of course, members of the American public, preservation groups and democratic lawmakers have raised concerns about this, Dr. Nagao. Of course, the White House is a historical property, and if you look at the grounds of the East Wing, bulldozers are surrounding it, and parts of the historic structure has been demolished. Do you think it is an abuse of power in regards to Donald Trump changing such a historic property with no check on this from other branches of the United States government?
When we check the history of the White House, indeed, modification has happened repeatedly in the past. So, especially, of course, in 1814, the British came here and occupied it and burned the White House. That was the starting point, because after that, this building was covered by the white color. So that's why White House has started. But after that, in 1992, under the President Theodore Roosevelt, he built the West Wing. So people start to call the West Wing the White House. And in 1948 to 52, under the President Truman, he modified inside of the this White House very drastically. So that's why the current building was made. So that's why if the President Trump tried to build a big ballroom, if this is useful, this is one of the modifications in the history. So that's why this is not just a museum. This is an actual political facility. So that's why there's a possibility modification itself is, of course, legitimized. It is possible to legitimize, I think.
Yeah, and of course it costs $400 million to construct. Well, Donald Trump says it's going to, and is unclear about who's paying for it. Whether that be the American taxpayer or himself. What are your thoughts on the funding of that? Of course, $400 million, a huge amount of money, however, for the United States economy.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts? Go on.
Yeah, just now it is impossible to identify whether good or bad, because if the king creates a pyramid, if the Egyptian government use this pyramid as an attractive place for the foreign tourists, Egyptian government can get the income through this. So building the pyramid is a huge cost, no doubt, but after that, this pyramid collects money. So that's why if President Trump builds a ballroom, big ballroom, if it is very valuable to use for the reception for the foreign leaders or the reception and promote the diplomatic relation with the US and others, it could be that this is useful. But at the same time, if this is not just a luxury and other presidents do not use because this facility is not useful, other facilities better, in this case, just wasting money. So just now, it is impossible to identify this is valuable or not. And so this is the decision of the US voters, and a foreigner like me cannot say anything indeed, I think.
Yes, Dr. Satoru Nagao, as always, it's a pleasure to speak to you.